In terms of shadow mapping, there's nothing more informative and helpful than a floor plan. In the floor plan view, it's normal for you to put in a shadow at a 45-degree angle. And you can use that in order to anticipate the shape of the shadow when you draw it in perspective. So let's begin with this now. We're going to know that this is a 90-degree angle, but we want a 45-degree angle for our shadow. So already I can do that. We want to show the height of this, the seat of the chair. So I'm going to put a shadow in. You see this now is the shadow for the seat here, this part. So I can put that in. I drew it that way here, so I'll draw it that way here. This is a shadow for this part of the chair, and it's at a 45-degree angle. The arm will have to be at a 45-degree angle as well. So if this represents the height of that, the arm isn't quite that long. So the next part, and it's not at the edge either, it's in a bit. So I'm going to do a 45-degree angle again, and I'm going to make this not quite so long. Here's my next 45-degree angle for the back, and the back goes up a bit. So I've got to put this up a bit. And it's less than the arm even. So I'll put that. Now I've got the thickness for the back. And I drew this way, I'll draw this way. So you see, these are all drawn that way. So I will draw the shadow that way for them as well. This is something we didn't see back here. There's probably a little panel at the back here too. Now, this has to be at a 45-degree angle as well. Put that in. Now this I drew as a straight line, so that has to go in as a straight line. So that's the shape of our shadow, except this is round. We rounded out our arms. This is our first exercise from week 1. I could have the light hitting the floor here. So that means that the light is in front of that arm. So I'm going to have a shadow from the arm as well. And I'm going to have shadow back here, shadow back here. So we're anticipating this to be grayer. In terms of color, it will be grayer and darker than anything that's in the light. There might be a little shadow just in the corners too, a little bit, but this will be the shape of our shadow. Now these shadows next to the object, they're dark and contrasty, but as they move away from the object and get further away from the light source, they become soft and diffuse. And this is from observation. If you look around you at the shadows that are right next to you, you'll see how soft they are. They're not solid, they're transparent, so we need to show them that way. And you don't outline them. We just outlined this one so that we could emphasize its shape. If I look at the angle, that angle, I can begin this shadow with that angle. I can draw a line. If I continue that and that are a 90-degree angle in perspective. So if I want to chop it in half, I'm going to do this. And if I follow it, and I put it, so this is the side of the chair. If I were to lengthen that, see, there's that much distance on the other side of the chair for the light source. So I could put it about here. See the relationship? There's that line. Then the light source is on the other side of that line, so I can put it here, but it's in line with this. See how it was in line with that 45-degree angle. So this line, this dot is this dot for the light source hitting the floor. This line at 45 degrees is this line. Okay, so, and then I just do the very same things. The shadow for this line is this line. And I don't want it to go too long, so I'm gonna fix it like this. Now, I'm using my perspective of the chair to give me the angle of this. Remember what we did. This, if I bring this down to here, I can go this way using this dot. I can go this way. And that's the arm, which is less than this, so I can make it like about this. And I'm using the perspective now of the chair to give me that. If I bring this down to here, I can use this dot. See how you have to keep bringing things down to the floor? That's how we're making the shadow. We're making it on the floor. So this will be curved. The shadow for the back. And the back is just a little bit higher. Now this line, it goes with the vanishing point, so I've got to keep that in mind for that. And then there's this line I have to put in. And at this point on the floor, that angle is like, if it's like this, then that angle would be like that. So this angle will be like that. And there we have it. But this is fun too. If I put in the hidden part of the foot, I don't think you call these feet, the leg. Anyway, if I put that in, I can go through the back corner here, and I get this beautiful shape for the leg. If I cut this off, there might be a little space there. So this leg may be even better. I can go. So quite often you'll see a little gap there. And if I decide my shadow starts here, I'll have, this will be nice. There'll be a little gap inside here, which is kind of attractive. So my shadow will begin like this. It'd be nice if I had that gap, but I don't see it happening, so. And again, you don't outline your shadows. I'm just doing it because the shape is so important to what we're talking about. And again, you start more darkly against the object, and then as you go away, remember we had a little bit of shadow there, a little bit of shadow there, and some there, and some there on the leg. And we've got this shadow now. I didn't put the shadow for the cushion. I suppose I could have, but I think it would have complicated it a little bit, and we're trying to keep it as simple and read as simply as we can make it. So, and it's a bit darker. Now this, just like on our box, the shadow closest to the cast shadow is here. And there's underneath shadows. After you get the essential shadow, you go and look for places where there's just a little shadow underneath something, and you put that in as well. And you would take your time with this sort of thing. You wouldn't rush like this, but and then the brightest part of the chair, the most colorful part of the chair, will be on the front here. Because this is all lit up, but you can put a little bit, so there's some light right here. You can put a little bit of value there. And this you would leave white, so you have the contrast at the turn of the form from front to side. And this has shadow. You can put a little bit of something in there, but this would be more colorful down the front. And we can put a little shadow there. And this kind of bellies out a little bit. So you could put a little shadow so that it looks like it kind of bellies out. If you had now some planking on your floor, you could bring that through. The planking is nice because it will help your shadow to look transparent. If you run the lines through your shadow, it will help it look more transparent. I've just given up on my perspective over there, so don't you do that. Make sure, I got a little excited. Make sure you follow your perspective.